Hey guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing the top 10 most anticipated comics for 2023. At this point, we have comic books announced until March, so looking through the solicits of January, February, and March, these are the books I'm most anticipating for the year. Now let's start with number 10, which is Hellcat issue 1, and this is continuing probably from the Iron Man series. She was in Iron Man. Cantwell wrote that series, and now he is following up with Hellcat's own series. And honestly, one of my favorite parts of his run was Hellcat, just seeing the spotlight, how much he knew about the character. So I'm curious to see what her journey is going to be outside of Iron Man and in her own series, and I'm glad that she's getting the spotlight. So that's number 10 for me. Moving on to number 9, which is Shazam, and I just kind of realized some of the Dawn of DC books don't even have a solicited date, so this is going to be later than March for Shazam. The reason I'm excited is that I feel like Shazam doesn't get the spotlight as much as he deserves. I've been loving the Mary Marvel series that's out right now. It's one of my favorite series on stands, and I'm also curious to see the World's Finest team take such a iconic older character like Shazam and bringing it into the modern day, because that's what they've been doing so well with World's Finest. So it's Dan Mora and Mark Waid. How can you go wrong? And I'm curious to see what side of Shazam they're going to focus on. Is this going to be purely a Billy Batson book, or is this going to be a Shazam family book? And how much is it going to tie into old adventures with them, or are they going to do something really completely new, like similarly to World's Finest? Moving on to number 8, which is Superman issue 1. New direction for Superman. It seems like DC is putting a giant spotlight on Superman with a lot of new titles and a lot of new directions for Superman. But the reason I'm excited for this one is that Joshua Williamson is writing it. I've been such a big fan of his writing. Love his independent work with Darkrai, but then also just really enjoy things like Robin from him. So I want to see what he ends up doing with this series, such a big character like Superman. All right, moving on to number 7, which is The Red Goblin. And this is another Spider-Man book coming out, but I don't feel like there's been enough spotlight on Normie in particular. So this is Harry's son and Liz's son. And I love Liz as a character. I feel like they do not put the spotlight on Liz enough. So I'm curious to see if she's going to kind of have a take on this as well. Like, what's her role? Because I feel like she's always been menacing in the background with such potential. And maybe they'll do something with her because, hey, this is her son, who is now a goblin, so she's kind of in the world of goblins, but she's always been like on the line of the goblins. So is she going to actually do anything in this series as well? Moving on to number 6, which is Wasp issue 1. This is celebrating the Ant-Man anniversary and also, I believe, celebrating Janet's anniversary. And there's so many layers of Wasp I find so fun. I mean, Janet as a character is such a pleasure and does not get enough panel time. And then Nadia, I think, is really cool, and I've really enjoyed Janet's relationship with Nadia. So I'm curious to see if this series is going to explore that at all, and how it explores the Wasp legacy like it did in that Ant-Man series. Moving on to number 5, which is Nightwing issue 100. This is such a big milestone for the comic, and Tom Taylor has had such a big run onto Nightwing, and I feel like with these previous issues, we've been kind of closing a lot of doors on this book, and what is going to be the new chapter for Nightwing and Tom Taylor's voice on the character. And I really hope issue 100 has a lot of announcements and twists and turns to really show us what this new chapter is going to look like. Moving on to number 4, which is Black Cloak issue 1, and this is Kelly Thompson. I love her writing so much. I know this is a Substack book. I have not been following the Substack book, so I'm glad it's getting another life in the direct market with Image Comics, and I'm just so excited for this book. I haven't read an indie book from Kelly Thompson, so this is going to be really new, and I'm excited to see her fresh take in her own world. Moving on to number 3, which is Ranger Academy, a book that we don't know much about, but we do know is going to be teased in the Free Comic Book Day book. So I'm guessing it's going to be more towards the summer that this book's going to come out. But, I mean, it's Power Rangers, but it's also in this school setting, which, look, they're teenagers usually for the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, so we've seen them in school, but not in school like the X-Men learning about their powers. Like, this is going to be a school where they get to learn how to be Rangers. And which characters are they going to pick? Are they going to be new characters? I think there's just a plethora of really cool things that you could dig into with this one. All right, moving on to number 2, which is The Chilling Adventures presents Betty, the Final Girl. I am glad to be picking up some Archie books this year. I always have fun when Archie does something different and puts a twist on their genres, especially when they do something with horror. And I am such a big Final Girl fan, and I love Betty. And I was like, what are they gonna do? What's this slasher madness gonna be? So this is just all written to be perfect for me. Moving on to number 1 is Green Arrow, and finally we're getting a Green Arrow book again, written by Joshua Williamson. Again, a writer I very much enjoy, and you could tell he knows a lot about the mythos of Green Arrow with just his writing on Robin and seeing Connor Hawke there. And I'm curious to see which characters are going to be involved. Is it gonna be a Green Arrow family book? Where has Green Arrow been? What is this new legacy for Green Arrow look like? Because I feel like in the previous years he's been thrown in a lot of different directions. So what is the new direction for him? I'm so glad that he's getting another series. It's been so long since we've had an ongoing Green Arrow series, and I'm glad that he's finally back on the roster. But let me know in the comments below, what are your most anticipated comics for 2023? I hope you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno, and I'll see you guys in the next one.